All right, friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to Bannerlord and all things tactically related. And in this castle and city defense series, we continue to show you the recipes necessary for you to win difficult sieges in your own game. Now, in this example, we're going to be covering Ataconia Castle, and a very simple example here, Imperial versus Imperial, which is realistic since this castle's in the middle of the map. We will be outnumbered 3-1, and for this first variation here, we will just let the sergeants rumble through a battle here, and we will watch an extra fast speed to identify difficult processes with this castle, identify opportunities, see what not to do, essentially in this first run through here. The AI is simply in charge, and we're going to observe some of the tendencies and some of the things that we're going to adapt to our own strategy. I like the archers on the inner circle there, but the outer walls here, of course, you know what I think of these, right? These guys are just dead. They're shot to pieces by the enemy here. You really should not be letting archers shoot from the outer walls. Otherwise, you'll just stack up a whole bunch of dead archers, and by the time the main battle arrives, you will be without most of your firepower. So over here, they've got a pretty good shot at destroying this siege tower. In fact, one or two more shots here. As long as these guys survive, there it goes. And that's good, right? Anytime, of course, you can eliminate a siege tower, you want to do that. So we're probably going to try to do something like that. Now, over here, I like this. Why? Because if you look at that gate, you've got the gate and the siege tower both arriving essentially at the same location. In other words, archers and infantry in the same area can protect both of these spaces. Now, we're probably not going to defend the walls like this either, because as you can see, their infantry is just being laid out before it gets here. This inner courtyard is interesting, right? There's this is unusual for castle defense. There's like this inner man-slaying area where the enemy is forced to come through and essentially be in a shooting pen for a minute or two before they break through this interior wall. All these archers on the inside here at least are doing good work, although you can definitely see the cost of putting the archers here has been great. Now, the enemy piles up on that narrow inner door. Unfortunately, the AI did not defend these archers, so the slaughter continues as they get trucked by the enemy infantry. They're going to be able to defend that little door pretty well, and it looks like they've got enough troops at least to hold back the siege tower for a while. And look at this shit. That rock came rolling out there. I think there are rocks in there. This little rock here that our units and or our player can pick up and then throw down there, but you have to protect that area, right? Of course, if the enemy's infantry is rampaging through there, you're not picking up any rocks. So down here, definitely good opportunity to place multiple archer divisions, and we can pound both the troops coming through the door there and the troops coming through the siege tower. I should mention, too, that this castle applies to many different castles across the lands of Calradia. Most Imperial castles are used somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 7 times in the map, and I will try to list those other castles in the title of this YouTube video. So let's give this a shot with some tactics here now that we've learned what not to do, right? We're going to continue. I think it makes sense to try to keep these archers on this inner ring, even though we're going to suffer losses on the front there. Highlighting the 7th Division, you can see there's some on the front there, but there's a lot on this inner circle, and I like that because those guys are firing down into the courtyard as the enemy breaks through. We'll put a very powerful division just slightly offset from that small door there. Those guys can be put right in front of the door if we need to really jam it up. 1, 2, 3. We almost have too many troops. I know that seems arrogant or cocky or something like that. I don't think we're going to have to defend that far side, but I'll put a square there for the time being. See how I want to do this. If I start mixing up my archer divisions, it'll fuck up that 7th division, so we're just going to leave the divisions as is. We'll run with 4 archer divisions. We don't actually need that many, right? Because we're really only defending the right side of the keep. Now, if the siege tower does get up to that left side, we will adjust. But right now, we're going to put the balance of our forces over here. Now, the second, actually, let's shove an archer corps way up there, kind of by those buildings. See how they're shooting downhill? It's important sometimes to get down to your archer's level and look at their line of sight, right? They can smoke both the guys coming through the door there and the guys coming on the siege tower. And then let's try to get some more archers down here. It's a little bit more jammed up than I want, and you could use those upper terraces, but I prefer the courtyard, right? That way our troops are protected by infantry nearby. Can just spread these guys out. Like I said, I actually have too many archers here. We do need some archers on the left there, just in case that siege tower breaks through. But there, how about that? That way they're kind of both covered, right? Our direction is covered, and then that far side is covered. Now, fire catapults, clearly here, I want to put fire catapult. I can't see them, but I'm pretty sure there are rocks inside that guardhouse. So we'll put fire catapults here that we can throw. Those guys over there hopefully will destroy that siege tower. They did the first battle. And then I think we will station ourselves here over this main guardhouse and see if we can't kill a lot of troops with just the rocks. And, of course, this fire catapult. Now... okay, so those are just the archers. That's the 7th Corps that I assigned essentially to that outer ring. I'm not thrilled about that. There's going to be quite a bit of death spam because all those guys towards the front there are precisely what I said you don't want to do in a castle defense. We'll roll with it here because, like I mentioned earlier, I actually think we have enough troops here, too many troops almost, to defend this, right? I think we could probably do this with 200 troops. In other words, being outnumbered 5-1, I think we would probably still have success. After this example, I will also do what I've started to do for some of these series, which is sort of pretending, what if you're a vassal for these siege? In other words, what if you only have control over 60 troops? How would I defend it? And we will see if we can't successfully defend it, where most of the AI is doing its thing, right? In other words, we have a percentage of troops that we're in charge of, and the rest, the AI is just doing its normal process. We'll see if we can't figure out a way to augment their forces. Now, I'm trying to kill these Sergeant Crossbow because these are the guys really doing damage to our archers on the wall. Right? If you can pound those Sergeant Crossbows with shots, by all means do so. Right? Those guys are lethal. Now, of course, you want to kill these packed infantrymen that are just walking behind the siege tower. My aim here in this episode has not been terrific, but I just heard a kaboom over there. That's almost certainly the siege tower over there going down, which is good. That means even more troops are going to come over here and allow us to fire catapult shots directly into their ranks. We will also be throwing these, right? This character, whatever, Arcor or whatever, this guy has decent throwing skill. And with all of these different rocks and fire catapults, we should be able to cause a lot of death just by throwing them. Maybe one more shot on the archers here, and then start throwing these fire catapults. Let's get one more shot there. Just now starting to get off the siege tower. Now, I'm mindful of those troops coming up there, right? Now, on the other side, we lost that infantry division. In other words, or more accurately, we no longer need to defend over there at that infantry division, right? Because that side is protected. Slow this down just a little bit here. And this way I can run this a little bit faster and yet still throw these fireballs. So troops piled up there on the ladder. Now I got to be careful. There's kind of troops running back and forth here, but our escape path is pretty clear. The enemy just started to zerg into the courtyard, and it looks like we have just enough troops shooting to sort of quell the enemy attack here. You see this archer standing next to me. But this is a better option, right? Let's bring this infantry over here, and we will station them basically right here and just block the enemy from getting here, right? So we've now borrowed some troops. We can now start stacking them up there. These guys are packed up in the killing pens out here, and as soon as they really compact for that door, these guys are going to be fish in a barrel. So our infantry's protecting me here, so we can just fire rocks to our content, right? We're just raining down concussions on the enemy as they try to get up that siege tower. And I'm almost just going to be able to go back and forth here with no risk. I've got this infantry division bodyguarding us in a square. I've got some archers joining me here for the slaughter above this gatehouse. And back and forth we go. And you know, recipe is complete. This castle's not going to fall with this setup. We've got archers out there scorching everything that comes up the siege tower. The guys in the courtyard are being shot too because we have all those archers on the inner ring just firing away. Meanwhile, I'm over here just dumping rocks into their troops as they're stacked up. And this looks like the winning recipe, right? You can see I'm protected here. Nothing can get to me. Most of the troops coming through the main gate are killed already. They just brought archers up because their archers are frustrated. They have nothing to shoot at. And so they're deciding they're going to try to get into the castle somehow, and they can't, right? The main siege tower is a death trap. and they're not getting through that little tiny door with that huge infantry division down there. I have auxiliary divisions, in fact. We have like extra troops here. Like I said before, I wasn't being arrogant. This is just experience playing Bannerlord. We have so many troops to defend this. Being outnumbered 3-1 in this castle, if you have this strategy, is too easy, actually. We've got this archer division. Let's bring these guys in and add their firepower. A note about archers, you don't want them too close to the door, right? We are having these guys scorch the door as the enemy comes through it. You want them to be about 35 feet away. That way, the enemy's routing. That way, the enemy doesn't chase after them. Well, half their force is routed. There's some dipshit archers here still trying to come through the gate. Basically, in a nutshell, if your troops are too close, or archers especially, to where the enemy's pouring in, instead of attacking your infantry, they will chase after your archers. You want to avoid that. Now, this is almost all archers here. We can just chuck a few javelins in here, but they can't get in, right? They're being shot. Guys on the walls are shooting them. Guys through the door are shooting them, and the enemy really is hapless here. I think we can probably just charge these guys, right? The death spam is almost entirely green. I can bring archers up here, and then we can charge them off the battlefield with infantry, right? This is where, I mean, we're just finishing the siege at this stage, right? Charge. We still have archers up here shooting them from the walls. This is a beautiful thing. And now our angry infantry can get some fucking action going on here. And the enemy run as they get blown out of our castle here. Okay, so a nice clean defense here. That's probably a 6-1 or a 10-1 KDR, something like that. Almost all of our troops survived. So the AI gets decimated here, and we get a better than 8-1 kill ratio. All right, so I want to try this, just having a small group of units, and we'll let the AI do their thing, and we'll see how that goes. I'll reload that up, and we'll be back in just a second. Try this again. So the first time didn't go so well. So we'll give this another shot here. In fact, I'll probably just do some editing there. You know, when you get killed by archers and everything gets chaotic, it just reemphasizes how you need to protect yourself. So let's try this again. I'll probably just edit that out so you guys don't have to watch that. Let's pretend like we have, what, 50, 60 troops? Is that about right when you're a mercenary? Maybe 65? We'll give ourselves like 65 troops here, 2 infantry divisions and an archer division, and the rest of the units will be on essentially auto. So this is sort of the simulation if you're a mercenary, or maybe you're a vassal, and, you know, some Grand Duke or whatever is in charge of the castle defense. Can your intelligent tactics augment the fact that he's a dipshit? Can it overcome that fact in castle defense? We'll give this a shot here. I'm thinking of a secondary defense already with that higher area. But for now, we'll just have our units augment theirs, right? Archers, just like that first attempt. And then I think what we'll do is augment this gate and put another division eventually. I think we'll put them on the walls. These guys right here, we can put them on the walls eventually and help protect this character so that I can throw these fireballs, right? These, I think there's, yeah, the fireballs are still up here. We'll jump on this catapult, do some damage beforehand here. And then very similar to that first battle, put a block of infantry there so that you can throw these fireballs. Very, very important that you do that, because if you just look at the math of it, right? If you throw 8, 9 fireballs and 4 or 5 stones, and say on average you kill 5 troops, right? Right now we're killing way more than 5, but say you kill 5 troops on average. Well, if you throw 10 of them, you know, you're killing 50 to 100 troops. It's well worth it to sacrifice 15 to 20 infantry and basically have them hold the line while you obliterate everything in sight. Now, we would have been a lot more accurate here. I'm running this on an accelerated speed here to sort of to save your time, right? Not to sort of. We're actually trying to save your time in these episodes. You guys are all in a hurry. People all want to learn shit without taking a bunch of time, TLDR and whatnot. All the attention spans of a goldfish. Too many hours on the phone. All of our attention spans is decreasing. So hopefully you can excuse me running around. This is actually really difficult doing this on this kind of speed and giving a positive narration. But all we're doing here again is holding that edge. We actually have enough infantry on the walls right now that I don't need to really bother with my block. Oops, we fumbled there. We dropped our little fireball. But I've got these rocks, right? These rocks here are nice and handy. We can chuck a few of these. In fact, I've got competition. There's another guy here chucking some rocks with me. And there's tons of rocks here, right? There's 2 big piles. You add in the fireballs, and you really do have the capacity to kill like 100 troops on your own. The enemy's jammed up here. I don't think I can quite reach their troops now. Right? If you can't reach them, aim for the guys that are on the siege tower itself. Right? They'll have dipshits here that are bottled up. Just give them concussions. Right? Throw it right on the siege tower itself. It might damage or destroy the siege tower, which would obviously be beneficial too. We could have destroyed the siege tower in this battle as well. I forgot to mention that earlier, but frankly, the siege is just too easy at that stage, right? If you have the capacity to destroy both siege towers, you should really never lose a siege. Now, just to show you one more thing here, let's try this. This is dangerous, of course. What I'm going to do here is pretend like we're falling back to a last stand, right? The U.S. equivalent of like an Alamo or some kind of siege defense where you're down to your last 50, 60 troops. Now, the AI still has some troops fighting. You can see they've got some archers on the wall still. Some infantry skirmishing over there. But I think without our archer help, they're going to start to wilt. Now, they still have some help. Our archers are actually still shooting from back here, but they did wilt. They got blown up from that right side, and now the enemy is starting to rampage through the courtyard and on the walls. We'll see what happens here. So if they do come up here, the main premise of this is you want to have an infantry block or two in shield wall or square facing away from the enemy where the enemy's going to come up and approach your men. The reason is because you want their infantry coming up and magnetizing to those units instead of rushing your archers. Now, if they do rush your archers, immediately charge. Have those infantrymen charge. You may even need to pull your archers back. Shit, here they come. We'll slow this down here. This is perfect, in fact. We're probably outnumbered 3 or 4 to 1 here. So it's going to be a challenge. There's guys coming up the back, which is suboptimal for us. These guys are all vigorously charging. Catch a javelin, you fuckers. I'm getting cut down here. Okay, the other square's magnetizing, and there's 8 or 10 crossbow firing away there. I still think this can work. Let's pull this 6th division back over here. That far side seems okay, and now I'm going to add some javelins to this assault here. And this is perfect, right? Their archers are trying to attack our square. They've got some infantry in there as well, but that's like 20 guys that are holding up their shield. They're fighting too, and all the livelong while, our archers are just firing almost point blank into their troops, right? So massive damage. I will sit at the edge of the square here and kind of try to not get killed, right? You can't get killed here. But I think this is ours. I don't think the AI can defeat this setup here. Now, we can pull our units back further, but if the enemy attacks your archers, all of a sudden they change directions, charge with the infantry. You basically want to discourage them from attacking your archers here. As long as they're attacking your infantry, though, you got a shot, and the death band shows you all you need to know. It's probably a 5, 6, 7 to 1 kill ratio here. Now we can help with some of these extra guys that are coming up. We can sort of cautiously help at the margins here. More troops are pouring in. In fact, they got archers. So we'll stick our shield up in their face. But we got this shit. There's no way they're coming in here. And indeed, this castle defense, including this little fun secondary defense, is successful. Alright, so it's hard to know exactly how many troops we killed. Our court says he killed 95. I'm sure our archers did a lot of damage. It says they got 110 to 1 kill ratio. That's always good. So I will call this a successful siege of Ataconia Castle. Now, we're continuing to do this for all the different castles and cities throughout Calradia. If you want to see how to defend cities and castles, of course, you want to subscribe. You want to pay attention to the playlist. Please leave any comments or requests you might have. Hit that like button on the way out, friends. And I will talk to you guys next time.